Well, we need a bounce back. That's easier said than done. It looks like Arizona State's playing good baseball, shocking. Anytime that you can, whether it's there or up here, that you can win a 2 out of 3 against a good Beavers club, and they got off to a 2 out of 3, which is typically the objective of everybody. You know, everybody wants to go 3-0, but in the pack, I think we'll all take 2 out of 3 no matter where you play. And I guess not that it's going to be easier, but we'd rather be playing them here than there, and we'll see. We've had a miserable week, there's no question about it. So for a lot of reasons, this will be an interesting weekend.
Any particular facet that you really feel like you need to tighten things up?
Well, I'm going to take the bullet. You know, you cruise along, you think you're doing pretty good. A lot of people are recognizing you, and we didn't see it coming for sure because we thought we were working extremely hard. In fact, we thought our body of work leading into the previous weekend was really good. And then I challenged the team in a tough situation with 5 games and not a lot of practice. Can we continue to get better? And we just got knocked on our rear end. You know, we hit for the 5 games under 200, and our ERA was up close to 5, and we got out-coached. You know, like I said, I'm going to take the bullet. It's easy to point fingers at the team and say they're not performing, but it starts with the head coach. That's me, and we need to find out. We need to get up off the deck and do something about it. I guess the silver lining is it happened. At least 2 of the losses were outside of conference, and the fact that you could only go 1 and 2. Nobody swept, so that's kind of keeps you in the game, so to speak. And even if we were 0 and 3, we'd still be in the game, of course, with 27 more games. But we just didn't play well, you know. And so it starts with preparing better, and then of course playing better. That's the ultimate test. And I don't think it was a glaring attitude thing or this and that, but the long answer is all that stuff. The short answer is let's start with George Horton. And we're going to do our best to get this, help the guys turn it around. And the other obstacle is we're in finals, you know, and so it'd be easy to say, well, maybe the guys are writing papers or studying, which they were, but every college baseball team or athletic team has finals. If that added to it, then that added to it. But we're not going to use that as an excuse. We didn't play very well.
Nice to have a couple of days with no baseball for them. I mean, do you think it'll be a good thing to focus on school? And
I do. Yes, I do. You know, they're a little worn out in the road. You know, 5 games wears a college kid out. Wears a coach out. Traveling wears a coach out. Finals, studying on the airplanes and buses wears them out. So yes, the 2 days off for they can really focus on their academics, I think is good. That we don't have any midweek games for sure.
With no sweeps last week, can you just talk about the depth or parity or whatever you want to call it this year in the conference, it seems like?
Yeah, I talk about each and every year. I mean, it's such a blessing to be coaching and competing in this conference because of the respect I have for all the programs and all the players. And, you know, Coach Esker's not necessarily, I would say, on a short list of those that get recognized. They've not won a national championship yet, but I think he does a tremendous job, him and his staff, and they've got good personnel and good team, and they kind of had some chemistry. It looked like that they like each other, and you know, it doesn't get any easier with the new coach on board, Tracy Smith, who had great success at Indiana, and his team's still doing well that he left behind. And so it's a grind, you know, and predicting who will win each and every series is impossible. Predicting who's going to be the conference champ is next to impossible. It's because any one of the teams, basically, maybe not some of the bottom feeders teams, that I don't know who those are, but there's a lot of teams that are contenders, maybe 7 or 8 this year that you could say might end up being conference champions.
What's the confidence level for your team right now?
Well, you know what? I like the way we went about it Sunday. There we came apart a little bit on Friday and Saturday, and for whatever reason, and we kind of took a step back and looked at the big picture and decided we weren't having enough fun. Decided that we needed to go back to our yearbooks and realize that we don't recruit crummy baseball players. That they're a good team, they're good players. Asked them to become little leaguers and told them I'd buy ice cream at the end of the game. They had fun, and they had fun and they had ice cream at the end of the game. So. Within the rules, of course.
Watching from afar, it looks like you were mixing and matching a little bit in the outfield in particular. Are you still trying to find? Do you want to hit on a group out there, or do you like shuffling guys in and getting a bunch of guys playing time?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. It's certainly great to keep guys sharp off the bench and give some guys some opportunities to play. And then you know, if you just play the same 9 or 10 for a long period of time, that's what every coach wants. That means you're healthy. That means you're playing well. That means those guys are playing well within the team. But then sooner or later in a 60-game season, you're going to need somebody to come off the bench and play an extended period of time, or to come off the bench and play defense or get a pinch hit. So having that rotation basis is good from some aspects and depth. But usually where we're at is it's more of a case of we're trying to find the right formula and chemistry and so forth. You know, as I said before, there's an old cliche, you play your best 9 players or your best 9. Your best 9 meaning the chemistry part of it. So some of those guys are struggling. You know, Graybeck got inserted and he caught fire, and then he kind of hit a tailspin, and we're trying to get Heineman going. He's kind of been a spring training guy because of his health issue, and he had a good game on Sunday, so maybe that'll be a spark that can get him going. And then we're matching up, you know, because when it's that close between, you don't have an All-American sitting there, you're looking at how their pitcher fares against left and right, and how our guys, so you're splitting details, and that's really what Coach Waz and Coach Ullman and the entire staff is trying to make the best educated guess on what gives us the best chance to win. And what we do like is the chemistry of our ball club. They're the way we didn't like the one game out of the 5 last week that we really didn't like their personality much was the Tuesday game, and that might have set us back enough that it cost us 3 more losses, to be honest with you. But every day we get a chance to be with this team in practice or in the game. Just about every time they have our respect. They get after it pretty good. So I'd like to go on record to say that there isn't a group of athletes that I'd rather go to work and try to turn this around with than this 2015 Duck team. I think it has good chemistry. So
maybe by the same token, this Friday will be important to set the tone. And if you got off on the wrong foot, started that last week, you want to get on the right foot this week, huh?
Yeah, I think if not, we'll deal with whatever we have to deal with, Rob, of course. But
at least in terms of attitude and you know.
Yeah, maybe that momentum, maybe the momentum from Sunday's effort, which was not perfect. There could have been a little better in some areas, but we thought their personality was spectacular. Maybe that get the finals behind us. Everybody, you know, we've all been to that place where you took your last final and got a spring break. That feels good. You know, you feel like you get a recharged battery there, and so maybe that'll energize us. That, and then of course the healthy competition with a great Arizona State program.
Is there a significant difference on the amount of preparation you have for Arizona State compared to what you've had for Cal?
No. We'd like to think that we prepare as hard and as detailed as anybody in the country for even U.S. Out, you know, and so I guess because of the tradition of the program, I know my staff presented me with about 7 DVDs. Sometimes you have 1 or 2, sometimes you have 7. I have 7, so there's more information, but my staff is up there working very hard on presenting Coach Horton and the team with the scouting report. They work their rear ends off of accumulating great information. And it's not so much that anything snuck up on us last week, it's just we didn't play very well. We didn't prepare as well as we typically do, and of course the results of hitting under 200 and not pitching as well. Even in victory, we walked 11 guys on Sunday, so that's not Duck baseball. We gotta throw strikes and play better catch.
You have an intense stretch of games coming up now that this kicks off. Is that on your mind as you go into this series?
One series at a time. You know, of course, as a coach, you get out there organizationally, and we've got the spring break and the Tuesday, Wednesday thing in Southern California, and we may have to take an extra guy, an extra arm there and send them home and those kind of logistic things. But our focus is on the first pitch on Friday night against Arizona State. Anything other than that would be ridiculous to get any farther out than that.
You guys didn't really strike out a lot against Cal. Obviously, I didn't get to see it in person. What did you see at the plate? I mean, Cal struck out actually more than you guys did every single game.
Yeah, we didn't put the ball in play as hard as we could, and although we did crush. I thought we hit the ball extremely hard on Sunday. Didn't get a whole lot of hits early. It was kind of a weird phenomenon that it was almost like their style of hitting was more conducive to a natural grass, faster field than PK Park, where our hits were the true line drive hits that would have been a hit in any ballpark. And I'm not complaining because this is a talent. They were beating our infielders. They were chopping the ball. We weren't getting as good of first steps defensively as we're capable of. I'm not throwing Coach Ullman under the bus because I think he's the best infield coach in the country. His breakdown of that is he accused our infielders of being tentative. That was accurate. It looked like it to me a little bit that it might have been not as good a first step on a real field than a turf field. Not to test their character, but it was just the fundamental of that. And we unfortunately, especially Saturday's game, we let a lot of outs get away from us. And that's a shock to us because we pride ourselves on defense, not only team defense, but infield defense. So if there was any glaring weakness, is our outs were not hard ground balls. And on defense, our infield play was not up to the level that we're accustomed to. Will it get there? Absolutely. I'm sure on Wednesday we'll dig into that very hard.
What can you do to combat that sort of playing on grass, playing on turf, back to turf and grass? Can you do drills to fix that at all?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, we don't put a big deal into it. I think if you talk about the pink elephant, what are you thinking about right now? Pink elephant. Okay, so you talk about this is a whole different. It's not a whole lot different of playing on natural grass and turf. It's a mentality thing. And so we could take them out into the parking lot of Autzen Field and hit them ground balls and those kind of things where you get a little bit of a funny hop. But Coach Ullman addresses that very well. I think the mentality of our guys, we usually get an opportunity to take ground balls the night before we start a series, so there's no excuses. And I don't know why it showed up in a little bit of tentativeness because their fundamentals, they've been taught very well, and they've all played on grass fields. So it was just, there were some weird balls hit. There was a weird play that Cuddy we jammed a guy and Cuddy went to catch it and the runner came back, and instead of a double play, it kicks off his glove, and we thought maybe it could have been a collision, interference. It was just some unusual angles and plays, and it wasn't the basic play that was getting us. So I think ultimately my answer to your question is we'll be fine, and we're not going to do anything that we don't typically do, and I'm sure the next time we play on a grass field, it'll come out a lot better.